The Galactic Coalition fought the Void hegemony for 17 years, and they were losing. One by one, worlds fell to the crystalline beings that consumed everything in their path. Commander Jiwoo Park watched from Einstein Station as the last Rigelian ships arrived, carrying the survivors of yet another fallen civilization. Jiwoo's dark eyes reflected the distant lights of the refugee vessels. She had seen too many of these arrivals lately. Each one meant another world was gone, another species on the brink of extinction. Her uniform felt heavy on her shoulders today. "How many?" she asked quietly. Lieutenant Do-Yun Choi checked his screen. 8,000, Commander. Less than 10% of their population. Jiwoo nodded slowly. The Rigelians were known for their advanced mathematics and beautiful crystal cities. Now they were just another dying race. Earth had been lucky so far, protected by distance and the sacrifices of their allies. Humans had time to prepare, but that shield was breaking. Intelligence reports showed the Void moving closer to human space each day. "The Council wants to see you," Do-Hyun said. "It's about the project." The project. For 3 years, engineers and scientists from 37 species had been working in secret at the edge of the solar system. Jiwoo had visited only twice, but each time the sight had taken her breath away. The meeting chamber was already full when Jiwoo arrived. Representatives from the remaining coalition races sat around a large table. Some appeared as holograms, their worlds too distant or too dangerous to leave. Admiral Sunwoo Kang stood at the head of the table. His weathered face showed the strain of leading humanity's forces against an enemy that never tired. "The HSS Prometheus will be ready in 2 weeks, he announced. A murmur went through the room. 2 weeks was much sooner than expected. "We don't have a choice," Admiral Kang continued. "The Void has broken through the Arcturus defense line. They found the path to Earth." The room went silent. Jiwoo felt her heart sink. "Show them," Kang ordered. A hologram appeared in the center of the table. It showed a massive ship unlike anything Jiwoo had ever seen. Not just big, but strange. Its hull curved in ways that seemed to bend light around it. "The Prometheus incorporates technology from every coalition species," explained Dr. Gina Yoon, the lead scientist. "Its core houses the Mobius drive, a new type of engine based on dimensional physics." "Will it work?" asked the Centauri ambassador, his translator converting his whistles to words. "In theory," Gina replied. "We've tested smaller versions, but nothing this large." "Theory won't save us," growled the Tauran representative, his massive frame shifting uncomfortably in his reinforced chair. "It's our only hope," Admiral Kang said firmly. "The Void adapts to every conventional weapon we use. We need something they've never seen before." Jiwoo studied the ship's design. The Prometheus wasn't just a vessel. It was a last stand, a final attempt to push back the darkness. "Commander Park," Admiral Kang said, "you're being reassigned. You'll serve as first officer on the Prometheus." Jiwoo looked up in surprise. "Sir?" "We need our best people. Admiral Tai-Ho Kim will command." "You know him?" She nodded. Kim had a reputation as a brilliant tactician. Some called him reckless, but these times demanded risk-takers. After the meeting, Jiwoo walked to the observation deck. The stars looked cold and distant. Somewhere out there, the Void was moving toward Earth, destroying everything in its path. Her personal device beeped. A message from her brother showed pictures of her nephew's birthday party. Life going on, unaware of how close the end might be. Most people on Earth still didn't know the full danger. The Coalition had kept the worst news quiet to prevent panic. "Beautiful view," said a voice behind her. Admiral Tai-Ho Kim stood there looking out at the stars. He was younger than Jiwoo expected, with keen eyes that seemed to take in everything at once. "I was just assigned to your crew, Admiral," Jiwoo said. "I know. I requested you." Kim moved to stand beside her at the viewport. "I've read your tactical analyses. You understand how the Void thinks." "Nobody really understands how they think," Jiwoo replied. "That's what makes them so dangerous." Kim smiled slightly. "That's exactly why I wanted you. You know what you don't." "No." They stood in silence, watching the refugee ships being processed below. "Do you think we can win this war?" Jiwoo finally asked. "With conventional methods?" "No." Kim's voice was matter-of-fact. "But the Prometheus isn't conventional. It's something new. Something they haven't adapted to yet." He turned to her, his expression serious. "In 2 weeks, we either change the course of this war, or we become a footnote in the history the Void will erase. Either way, I want you on that bridge with me." Jiwoo nodded. "I'll be there, Admiral." As she looked back at the stars, Jiwoo thought about all the worlds already lost. The Prometheus was more than just a ship. It was a promise that humanity wouldn't go quietly into the dark. Admiral Tae-ho Kim stepped onto the command deck of the HSS Prometheus for the first time. The bridge was unlike any ship he had served on before. It was massive, with workstations arranged in concentric circles around a central command platform. The ceiling displayed a perfect view of space above them, creating the illusion that they stood among the stars themselves. "Impressive," he said quietly. Commander Jiwoo Park stood at attention nearby. "The ship is at 78% readiness, Admiral. Most systems are online, but the Mobius drive is still undergoing final calibrations." Tae-ho nodded and walked slowly around the bridge. The crew worked at their stations, humans and aliens side by side. He recognized at least 12 different species from across the coalition. Many wore translators around their necks or had neural interfaces to communicate across language barriers. "How long before we're ready for launch?" he asked. "Dr. Yoon says 3 days for the drive," Jiwoo replied. "Weapon systems will be online in 2. 3 days. Intelligence reports suggested they might not have that long. The Void Fleet had accelerated its advance after destroying the Arcturus outpost." A tall figure approached from the engineering station. Chief Engineer Minji Lee bowed slightly in greeting. Her hands were stained with the blue liquid that cooled the ship's secondary. "Systems, Admiral, we might have a problem with the dimensional stabilizers," she said. "The tests show some irregularities in the field generation." Tae-ho frowned. "Can we launch without fixing it?" "We can launch," Minji said carefully, "but I can't guarantee. What will happen when we activate the Mobius drive at full power? Best case, we lose some efficiency. Worst case," she didn't need to finish. "The worst case with experimental dimensional technology could mean the ship and crew being scattered across multiple realities." "Do what you can," Tae-ho ordered. "But we launch in 3 days, ready or not." After Minji left, Jiwoo looked concerned. "Admiral, rushing the launch is risky." "Not launching is certain death," Tae-ho countered. "For Earth and every remaining coalition world." The ship shuddered suddenly. Alarm lights flashed across the bridge. "Status report," Tae-ho called. Lieutenant Junho Bae at Communications looked up, his face pale. "Sir, we're receiving an emergency signal. The Coalition fleet at Proxima Centauri has engaged a void battle. Group, they're badly outnumbered." Tae-ho's mind raced. Proxima Centauri was the last major defense point before Earth's solar system. "Show me," he ordered. The ceiling display changed to show a tactical view of the battle. Coalition ships marked in blue were being systematically destroyed by the red markers of the void vessels. As they watched, 3 blue markers vanished. "They won't last another hour," Jiwoo said quietly. Tae-ho made his decision. "Alert all crew. We're launching now." The bridge erupted in activity. Jiwoo looked shocked. "Admiral, the drive isn't ready." "We don't need the Mobius drive to reach Proxima," Tae-ho said. "Conventional engines will get us there in time. Dr. Yoon can finish the calibrations en route." He activated the ship-wide communication system. "All personnel, this is Admiral Kim. Secure for immediate departure. This is not a drill." The next hour was organized chaos as the massive ship prepared for an early launch. Crew members rushed to their stations. Engineers frantically secured equipment that wasn't properly installed. Medical prepared for potential casualties. Tae-ho stood at the center of the command platform, watching the activity around him. He felt the weight of command more heavily than ever before. The Prometheus wasn't just a ship. It was the last hope for dozens of civilizations. Docking clamps released. reported the navigation officer, a young woman named Eunha Shin. All moorings clear. Take us out, Lieutenant. 1/4 power until we're clear of the station. The deck vibrated beneath their feet as the engines engaged. Through the ceiling display, they watched as the massive Einstein station slowly fell away behind them. Several smaller ships escorted them, looking tiny next to the Prometheus's enormous hull. "Sir," called Junho from communications, "we're receiving a message from Coalition Command. Admiral Kang wants to speak with you." Taeho knew what that meant. "Put him through to my ready room. Commander Park, you have the bridge." In his private office, Taeho faced the stern image of Admiral Kang on the screen. "You were not authorized to launch," Kang said without preamble. "The Proxima fleet is being decimated," Taeho replied. "If they fall, Earth is next. The Prometheus isn't ready. The Mobius drive will be operational by the time we need it." Taeho interrupted. "I take full responsibility." Kang's expression softened slightly. "You always did prefer asking forgiveness to permission, Taeho. It's why you chose me for this command." After a moment, Kang nodded. "Very well. The Proxima fleet has been ordered to hold at all costs. Get there, save who you can, and drive the void back. The fate of Earth is in your hands." When Taeho returned to the bridge, he found Jiwoo efficiently directing the crew as they prepared for higher speeds. "Set course for Proxima Centauri," he ordered. "Maximum conventional speed." As the Prometheus accelerated toward its first battle, Taeho wondered if he had just made his first and last command decision. Either way, the Prometheus had awakened, and the Void would soon learn what humanity's final hope could do. The Prometheus dropped out of conventional travel near Proxima Centauri. The scene that greeted them was worse than they had feared. The Coalition defense fleet was in ruins. Of the 30 ships that had been stationed there, only 7 remained, and most of those were heavily damaged. The Void fleet, by contrast, seemed barely touched. 23 crystalline vessels moved with eerie precision, methodically destroying the remaining defenders. "Status report," Admiral Taeho Kim ordered, his voice steady despite the grim scene before them. "All systems operational," reported Commander Jiwoo Park. "Shields at maximum, weapons hot." Tactical Officer Hyun Kang looked up from his station. "Sir, I count 23 void ships, including 3 dreadnoughts. They haven't reacted to our arrival yet." "They will soon enough," Taeho said. "Communications, hail the Coalition flagship." Lieutenant Junho Bae worked his console. "Channel, open, sir." The view screen showed the battered bridge of the Coalition cruiser Defiant. Its captain, a gray-skinned Arcturian, looked surprised to see them. "This is the HSS Prometheus," Taeho said. "We're here to assist." "Prometheus?" The Arcturian seemed confused. "We received no word of your launch." "It was a last-minute decision," Taeho replied. "What's your status?" "Critical. We've lost 23 ships. Our remaining vessels are damaged. We cannot hold much longer." Taeho nodded grimly. "Pull your forces back. We'll engage the Void." The Arcturian's compound eyes widened. "With 1 ship? Even the Prometheus cannot—" "That's an order, Captain. Fall back to these coordinates. We'll handle the Void." After the transmission ended, Jiwoo approached Taeho. "Sir, with respect, we haven't tested the weapons systems in actual combat, and the Mobius drive is still not fully calibrated." "We're out of options, Commander," Taeho replied quietly. "If the Void breaks through here, Earth is next." He turned to the bridge crew. "Battle stations, prepare main weapons. Helmsman, bring us in on attack Vector 7. As the Prometheus moved forward, the Void ships finally seemed to notice them. 3 smaller vessels broke formation and moved to intercept. "They're scanning us," reported Science Officer Gina Yoon. "Their energy signatures are increasing. They're charging weapons." Taeho nodded. "Let them come to us. Hold fire until my command." The bridge was silent as the Void ships approached. Everyone knew that conventional weapons had limited effect on the crystalline vessels. The Prometheus carried new weapon systems, but they were untested. "Enemy ships in range," Hyun announced. "They're firing." Purple energy beams lanced out from the Void vessels. They struck the Prometheus's shields, which flared bright blue but held. Shields at 87%, Jiwoo reported. Minimal damage. Taiho leaned forward. Target the lead vessel. Fire graviton cascade. Hyun's fingers flew over his console. Graviton cascade firing. Unlike conventional weapons, there was no visible beam. Instead, the space around the targeted void ship seemed to warp and distort. The crystalline vessel shuddered violently as gravity itself became a weapon, crushing it from multiple directions at once. Fractures appeared along its hull, spreading rapidly until the entire ship shattered into countless glittering fragments. A cheer went up from the bridge crew. It was the first time they had seen a void ship destroyed so quickly. The other void vessels are changing formation, Hyun reported. The main fleet is advancing toward us. Taiho turned to Minji Lee at the engineering station. Chief Engineer, status of the Mobius drive? Minji looked nervous. It's at 80% calibration. Admiral, we can activate it, but I can't guarantee precision in the jumps. We don't need precision right now, Taiho said. We need chaos. Prepare to engage the drive at my command. He addressed the bridge. The Mobius drive allows us to bend space-time in ways the Void hasn't encountered. We're going to use it to appear unpredictably around their fleet. Hit and fade attacks. As the Void fleet approached, Taiho gave the order. Engage Mobius drive. Jump pattern alpha. The stars around them seemed to stretch and twist. The bridge crew felt a momentary sensation of being in multiple places at once. Then reality snapped back into focus and they were behind the Void fleet. Fire all weapons, Taiho ordered. Graviton cascades and energy beams struck the rear of the Void formation. 3 more ships shattered before the others could react. Jump! Taiho called. Again space twisted and the Prometheus reappeared, this time to the left of the Void fleet. More weapons fire, more destruction. Then another jump to a new position. For the first time, the perfectly coordinated Void fleet seemed confused. Their formation broke as they tried to track the Prometheus, which kept appearing in different locations, striking and vanishing before they could respond. By the time the battle ended 2 hours later, 19 Void ships had been destroyed. The remaining 4 retreated, something the Coalition had rarely witnessed before. As the Prometheus regrouped with the surviving Coalition ships, Taiho allowed himself a small smile. The ship had performed beyond expectations. But as he studied the data from the battle, he noticed something strange in the Void attack patterns. They were targeting specific ships, he said to Jiwoo. The ones with Arcturian and human crews primarily. Jiwoo frowned. Why would they prioritize certain species? I don't know, Taiho replied, but I intend to find out. For the first time in 17 years of war, the Coalition had won a decisive victory. The Prometheus had drawn first blood. But the war was far from over, and the Void's strange behavior suggested there was much they still didn't understand about their enemy. The Prometheus emerged from a Mobius jump near the remains of the Void outpost. This was their 5th raid in 2 weeks. Admiral Taeho Kim studied the tactical display with satisfaction. Since the battle at Proxima Centauri, they had shifted to guerrilla tactics, striking quickly at Void installations and disappearing before the enemy could respond. No Void ships detected in the area, reported Lieutenant Hyun Kang. We caught them by surprise again. Taiho nodded. Launch the science probes. We have 30 minutes before their reinforcements arrive. Commander Jiwoo Park directed the science team as they deployed remote drones to collect samples from the destroyed Void structures. Each raid provided valuable data about their enemy. Admiral, called Dr. Gina Yoon from the science station, I think we've found something important. Taeho joined her at her console. The screen showed microscopic images of Void crystalline material. We've analyzed samples from our last 3 raids, Gina explained. There's a pattern in how the crystals respond to different energy frequencies. They resonate most strongly with brainwave patterns from certain species. Which species? Taiho asked. Primarily humans, Arcturians, and Rigelians, Gina said. All species with high levels of abstract thinking and creative problem-solving. Jiwoo, who had joined them, frowned. You're saying they're specifically targeting creative thinkers? It appears so, Gina confirmed. The Void seems to perceive these thought patterns as especially threatening. This explained the Void's attack priorities that Taiho had noticed. They weren't random. The enemy was systematically eliminating species that thought in ways the hive mind found dangerous. Human unpredictability confuses their collective consciousness, Gina continued. They can't anticipate what we'll do because we don't always follow logical patterns. A slow smile spread across Taiho's face. Then we need to be even more unpredictable. Over. The next month, the Prometheus led a campaign unlike anything the Coalition had attempted before. Instead of conventional military strategies, Taiho implemented what he called chaos theory warfare. Deliberately irrational attack patterns designed to confuse the Void's hive mind. They would prepare to attack one target, then suddenly change course to hit another. Sometimes they would approach a Void installation, do nothing, and leave. Other times they would use the Mobius drive to appear in multiple places almost simultaneously, creating the illusion of a fleet where only one ship existed. The effect on the Void was dramatic. For the first time, the crystalline ships began making mistakes. Their perfect formation broke down. They hesitated when they should have advanced, or attacked when they should have defended. Word of the Prometheus's successes spread throughout Coalition space. Species that had been preparing for extinction began to fight back. The ship became a symbol of hope. After a particularly successful mission, Taiho found Chief Engineer Minji Lee and a team of alien engineers working on modifications to the Mobius drive. "What's this?" he asked. Minji looked up from her work. "We've been studying how the drive interacts with void crystals. The Centauri engineers had an insight about frequency matching, and the Rigelian mathematicians developed new equations for targeting." She pointed to a complex diagram. "By adjusting the dimensional frequency of the drive, we can create targeted disruptions in the Void's communication network. It's like creating static in their hive mind." Taiho was impressed. "This wasn't in any of our original designs." "No," Minji agreed. "It came from the crew working together. None of us could have developed this alone." Throughout the ship, similar collaborations were happening. Human tactical officers worked with alien strategists to develop new battle plans. Coalition scientists combined their knowledge to find weaknesses in void biology. The Prometheus wasn't just winning battles, it was creating a new kind of cooperation. Species that had once been suspicious of each other now shared knowledge freely. The diversity that had initially seemed a challenge became their greatest strength. In his private quarters, Taiho reviewed the latest intelligence reports. The Void forces were reorganizing, pulling back from some sectors to concentrate their strength. They were adapting, but not quickly enough. For the first time, he allowed himself to believe they might actually win this war. A message arrived from Coalition Command. Admiral Kang's face appeared on the screen, looking more hopeful than Taiho had seen in years. "The Void pulled out of the Tau Ceti system yesterday," Kang reported. "And we've received reports of successful resistance in 3 other sectors. Whatever you're doing with the Prometheus, it's working." "We've found their weakness," Taiho replied. "They can't handle unpredictability, and we've discovered why they targeted certain species first. They fear creative thinking." Kang nodded slowly. "Then we need to press our advantage. Intelligence has located what appears to be their central nexus, a massive structure orbiting a neutron star in the Cygnus sector. It may be the control center for their entire hive mind." "Send me the coordinates," Taiho said. "If we can strike there, we might end this war." "It's heavily defended," Kang warned. "The Prometheus can't do this alone." "Then give me every ship you can spare," Taiho answered. "It's time to take the fight to them." As the communication ended, Taiho stared out at the stars. The tide of war had turned. Now they needed to deliver the final blow. The Coalition fleet gathered at the edge of the Cygnus sector. 47 ships from 23 species had answered Admiral Taiho Kim's call. It wasn't much compared to the fleets they had fielded at the start of the war, but it was all that remained of their combined forces. At the center of the formation, the Prometheus stood out, larger and more powerful. than any other vessel. Its hull bore the scars of dozens of battles, yet it remained undefeated. On the bridge, Taiho looked at the tactical display showing their target, a massive crystalline structure orbiting a dying neutron star. The Void's central nexus, intelligence, suggested it housed the core consciousness of the hive mind. Final status report, Taiho ordered. Commander Jiwoo Park stood at attention. All systems ready, Admiral. The fleet is in position. Chief Engineer Minji Lee spoke next. The Mobius drive is at full capacity. We've implemented the modifications we discussed. Taiho nodded and addressed the bridge crew. The plan is simple. The fleet will engage the Void's outer defenses while the Prometheus uses the Mobius drive to bypass their lines and strike directly at the Nexus. He paused, knowing what he was about to say next would be difficult. Once in position, we will initiate a controlled collapse of the Mobius drive inside the Nexus core. The resulting dimensional fracture should sever the connections between Void components across the galaxy. The bridge fell silent as the implications became clear. Sir, Hyun Kang finally asked, what happens to the Prometheus when the drive collapses? Taiho met his gaze steadily. The ship will be destroyed. I'm ordering all non-essential personnel to evacuate to the support vessels before we make our final approach. Protests erupted immediately. I'm not leaving, Minji declared. You'll need an engineer to manage the drive collapse. The navigation calculations will be extremely complex, added Lieutenant Yoonha Shin. You need me at the helm. One by one, the senior officers refused to leave. Jiwoo stepped forward. We all knew this might be a one-way mission when we signed on, she said. We're staying with you, Admiral. Taiho looked at their determined faces and felt a surge of pride. Very well. Prepare the rest of the crew for evacuation. We leave in 1 hour. As the Prometheus prepared for battle, evacuation shuttles departed carrying most of the crew to safety. The remaining officers, a mixture of humans and aliens who had volunteered to stay, took their positions for the final mission. The fleet moved forward as one. Almost immediately they were met by a massive Void response. Hundreds of crystalline ships emerged from around the Nexus, forming a protective barrier. The battle was fierce from the start. Coalition ships fought bravely, creating openings in the Void formation. The Prometheus darted through the chaos, its advanced weapons clearing a path. Multiple hits on decks 5 through 8, reported Jiwoo as the ship shuddered under enemy fire. Shields at 60%. Stay on course, Taiho ordered. Prepare for Mobius jump on my mark. The neutron star loomed ahead, its gravitational pull already affecting their instruments. The Nexus orbited dangerously close to the collapsing star, using its energy to power the vast crystalline structure. Now, Taiho commanded. Space twisted around them as the Mobius drive engaged. The stars blurred and shifted, and suddenly the Prometheus was past the Void defenses, appearing directly beside the Nexus itself. We're in position, Yuna reported, her hands steady on the controls despite the danger. Initiating docking procedure, Hyun added, attaching to the Nexus outer shell. Through the view screen they could see the Nexus up close, a beautiful and terrifying structure of interconnected crystals, pulsing with energy. At its heart, a bright core glowed with an unearthly light. That's it, Gina said from the science station. The central consciousness, all Void communications flow through that core. Taiho nodded. Begin Mobius drive overload sequence, target the core. Minji's fingers flew over her console. Overload sequence initiated. The drive is building to critical levels. 5 minutes until collapse. Start the countdown, Taiho ordered. And open a channel to all coalition forces. As the ship's systems began to strain under the building energy of the drive, Taiho addressed not just their fleet, but all coalition worlds. This is Admiral Taiho Kim of the HSS Prometheus. For 17 years we have fought against an enemy that seemed unstoppable. We have lost worlds, species, and hope itself. But today, we end this war. He looked around at his crew. Humans and aliens working side by side in perfect harmony. Humanity didn't save the galaxy alone. We merely provided the vessel that carried the collective genius and courage of all our peoples. Whatever happens next, remember this. Our greatest strength was never our technology or weapons, but our ability to bring different minds together to create something new. As the countdown reached its final seconds, the Mobius drive's energy built to impossible levels. The Nexus began to vibrate, as if sensing the danger. Drive collapse in 3, 2, 1. Minji reported calmly. Tai-Ho closed his eyes as a blinding light filled the bridge. The Mobius drive collapsed, tearing a hole in dimensional space at the heart of the void consciousness. The explosion rippled outward in ways that defied normal physics. The Nexus shattered, and with it, the connections that bound the Void Collective, mind together. Across the galaxy, void ships suddenly stopped moving. Their crystals dulled from glowing purple to inert gray. Without the central consciousness to guide them, they became nothing more than lifeless mineral formations. The war was over. In the aftermath, a new coalition formed from the survivors. The Prometheus was gone, but its legacy transformed galactic society. The cooperation forged in desperate times continued in peace. Throughout coalition space, the name Prometheus came to mean more than a ship. It symbolized hope passed from one civilization to another when darkness seemed absolute, humanity's greatest gift to the stars.